Hello everyone, this is Yash and today we'll be looking at the daily question 1432 max difference you can get from changing an integer. You are given an integer num. You will apply the following steps to num two separate times. Pick a digit x in the range 0 to 9. Pick a integer y or digit y, same thing. Now what we have to do is replace all the occurrence of x in decimal representation of num by y. In the first test case, what we did is we selected x as 5 and y as 9, and we replaced 5, all the occurrences of 5 with 9. So what we got was 999. And the next what it is asking is, let a and b be two results from applying operations to num independently. Return the maximum difference between a and b. Note that neither a nor b may have any leading zeros and must not be 0. So to maximize the difference, we have to create one integer as the maximum and another integer as the minimum. Okay, let's start with the question. So what we are going to do is we are going to take two variables into mapping, like a min map. That value would be the minimum value that we are going to map, and a max value for the map. What we are doing is we are calculating two different values, that is in the min mapping and in max mapping, and we are going to replace these values in our next loops. So, and we need another string that I will just tell why we are doing that in a bit. While num and num by equals to 10. Now what we are doing is we are going to calculate the remainder of num, which is num or 10. Then we are going to see if what we calculated, our value rem, is greater than 1. If the value is greater than 1, we know we have to replace the values if the value is greater than 1, because the minimum replacement that we need here is 1, as a number cannot be 0. So that's what we are checking, if the value is greater than this. So min mapping equals to rem, and same we are going to do for if rem is not equal to 9. We are going to map our max mapping equals to rem. Okay, now we are going to add the values to the string. So what we did here is, when we are going to use the string, we are going to use the number, sorry, we are going to reverse it and again bring back in order. So instead of doing that, what we are doing is we are creating a string and we are going to traverse it in reverse to remove a big of n loop, which on main time complexity it won't make much of a difference, but if you see it in a wider sense, instead of 3 loops, what we are doing, we are using 2 loops, but it's a space trade-off as well. So str.push underscore back rem. String is ready and we know what values to be mapped. Let's return 0 and let me show you what our code is doing here. Cout str. So what we are doing is we are going to store the values directly as they are instead of their integer value. If I do this, add a 0, will show the value in reverse. Like this case, output is, yeah, standard output is reverse the value of this, what we inputted. So yeah, we have reversed there it, and cout max underscore mapping. Just a quick example for what this variable is doing. Yeah, here we are checking, like we have 5 here. So we have to replace 5 by 9. So that's what max mapping is doing, is finding the value that we have to replace in our next loop. Like in this case, we have to replace 1 with 9s. So that's what it's doing. It's selecting 1, and the next loop we are going to replace it. Okay, let's get to our next loop now. In this loop, we are going to calculate our max value. That will be maximum equals to 0. Now let's use the STL for auto itr equals to str dot rear end, sorry, reverse begin itr equal to str dot R and itr plus plus. Okay, we are traversing our array in reverse using this. Yeah, another variable, like we need another variable min underscore num equals to 0, but because we use num here and it is 0, so we are saving space and using our num to store the minimum value. Num equals to multiplied by 10, same for max value, max underscore num multiply equals to 10. Both the values are now multiplied by 10, and now we will start storing the value. First, let's resolve max value. Max num will be equal to plus equals to, what we are going to check is star itr. What is star itr here? Is the value that we are accessing in the array. So let's say if we are on this value, so star itr will help us access 0. Now we will check if this value is the value that we are going to replace. That is, if itr is the max mapping that we have to replace. If it is the max mapping, we are going to replace it by 9. If it is not, we are going to simply use star itr. Max num resolved. Now here we have to change it to max num minus num. Okay, another issue. Now there is a case um, like this. The first value is 1 and the rest of the values are 0. So we have to replace we don't have to replace anything. Our min value is going to take 0, and the edge cases will be like we have to replace a certain value that has occurred earlier and it is the current value as well. So let me just write a test case for that, like 5 4 5 5. Yeah, so what we are going to do here is we are going to replace 5 in this case, but what we do, we replace this by 1 and replace this by 0, because these values are not occurring earlier. So the algorithm, what I thought first was this, that I replace the values that have occurred later in the array by 0 and the value that has occurred earlier by 1, but it won't work. So what we are going to do here is we are going to simply keep a track here, like integer, and we are going to see if our str value of str.size minus 1 is the value of min mapping. If that is, this code is going to do is it will check if the value is equal. If that is the value, that means throughout the code that value has to be replaced with 1, like this. Like in this case, we are going to replace 5 by 1. Now I don't have a track that if I have replaced 5 earlier or not. That's exactly what this val is going to do. It's going to keep a track that yes, my 5 has occurred once and 5 occurrences will be replaced by val only. So simply the code is going to come here, star itr, same part as this, upper part minimum underscore mapping, and we are going to check. If this is true, we replace it by by val, else we are going to use itr. Okay, let me just find, oh, we have to replace this here as well, because we are going to use the direct value from the string, not the manipulated value. And again, a small fault here. Let me just find it quickly. String str mapping num mod 10 str push. Okay, if num greater than 1, if num not equal to 9, and max num 0 and val equals to integer value of str size minus 1 equals to min mapping. Yeah, for auto itr and str rv and itr not equal to this, itr plus plus num multiplied by 10, max num multiplied by 10, max. Now num equals to, oh yeah, here we have to write it as num plus equals to. The full code, I'll be posting the link of the solution in the description. Thank you.